it was necessary for me to have this big ego and think I was that guy, because it's like you can't move forward unless you acknowledge that and overcome it. But now, I'm coming from a place of, yeah, I'm beloved and chosen, and so are you. I think we can learn the most from the poor and afflicted. But my belief is that I'm chosen here partially, and I've been given this gift to run and to compete. And so, that's one of the facets that I'm chosen in. And so I'm convicted of that, and I'm going to put all my energy and all my effort into that and be a hell of a runner. But I think it's necessary. I don't want to tell younger people like totally avoid the arrogance entirely, because I think it's almost like a canon event. Like you can't go around it, you can't go above it, you got to go through it, and then God willing, you come out better on the other side.
That was Michael Maiorano. Today, back on the Running Effect podcast. I'll keep this intro short. My conversations with Michael are always some of my absolute favorite, because we're able to go deep on a variety of subjects while also keeping things light and fun, as we are boys, we are friends. Sporting our very best vest today, unintentionally. Great minds think alike. And today's conversation was just a really fun one, really deep one, talking about greatness within the sport of running and some of the different subjects as it relates to excellence in sport and in life, as well as some hot topics like international transfers and age limits in the NCAA and the state of the NCAA. If you guys enjoy this one, give us a 5-star review. It takes 5 seconds. Share it with a friend, as that is the easiest way in which we can grow. And make sure you are following the podcast so you never miss another one. And without further ado, enjoy this conversation with the ever so thoughtful, the man, the myth, the legend, Michael Maiorano. Ladies and gentlemen, he's not back. He's better. He's done a bunch of things since he was last on the podcast. And I'm not speaking with the fake Michael Maiorano. I'm speaking with the real one across from me. Michael, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. It's beautiful here in Utah, and I hope all is well with you. It's you're the stud, so glad to see things going well for you, and I'm excited to talk to you again, man.
Boys are always up, and even when they're not, we strive to be up. For you, the last year or two since we've spoke, you've undergone a lot of change. I think that's a part of the sport that is underappreciated and probably under talked about. Is we like to fixate on the characters who are in one place all their life, and then they transition to the pro with the same college coach and ride off into the sunset. You've had some change, some setbacks, some victories. Take me through some of the key ones over the past few years.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm from Oregon, raised Southern Oregon, beautiful God's country. Committed to Gonzaga after high school, ran there for 2 years, and I can't say enough good things about Gonzaga. I can't say enough good things about Coach Tyson. But unfortunately, being a Maiorano, I make many mistakes, and I have to learn those the hard way. And so I got slapped with a 6-month suspension from Gonzaga for parking tickets. Yeah, sounds a little silly, but God works in mysterious ways. And I came down to Utah to run at the community college, Salt Lake Community College, with Coach Isaac Wood, and never saw myself at a JUCO, but we did some crazy things in JUCO, and best JUCO team of all time, irrefutably. And then I liked it down here so much, and I felt like I fit in, and I wanted to kind of take a change in my studies. I was studying business and wanted to transition to philosophy and theology. So I'm now here at Utah State studying and running, and we got a great team here. We got blue collar team. We run for each other. We run together, and yeah, I love it down here, man. It's just so many blessings wherever you go.
What's the status of the season? I've not been following or up to date. So cross country season, how's it going? Is it done? Is it continuing? Where are we at?
Yeah, our team just ran conference. We got regionals on deck and then nationals. I unfortunately came down with mono 2 weeks ago. So I'm taking some downtime right now. I'm not really sick. I'm feeling well, but my organs, like at Nuttycombe, my spleen got pretty big and don't want to risk rupturing that. So I think my season, I think I'm going to have to make a comeback in indoor track, but I want to be there for the team and help out any way I can. And we got a good team.
How do you handle a situation like that? Like mono is tough because you can pick it up all sorts of ways, and it's diseases like that are totally out of your control. You could say a stress fracture is out of your control, but generally you're probably not eating enough or doing a little too much in training, being a little greedy. I think it's the sicknesses that always got me, where I was like, damn, like why is this happening? Why is this happening? Why is it happening now? How'd you handle that news, and what advice would you have for an athlete out there who's struggling with the same thing?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to preface by saying I've been pretty calm in the kissing department. So I think I must have just grabbed somebody's water bottle or something. But I mean, I love you, Dom. You love me, and because you know me, you know that sometimes I'm an arrogant prick. Uh, and and certainly that's kind of like the Christian summons is to lose the ego and empty yourself and become one with God. Whether that's Christianity, whether that's even Buddhist philosophy, whatever it might be. But I'm an arrogant prick most of the time, man, and I think that's the thing about running is to succeed, you almost feel like you have to have an ego. But bro, laying there on the ground, like just I can't sleep for multiple days. I have a crazy sore throat. It puts you in this state of absolute humility, and it sucks. But honestly, it's like the best thing that could have happened to me. Because when you're in total humility, when you're totally meek, there's no ego, there's no personality, there's nothing standing between a man and his creator. And I feel like that's a lesson I really needed to learn this fall. But just got to get back on the horse and work through it. I think through these trials, we kind of just got to say like, thank you, God. This was for my salvation in one way or another, and move forward. But obviously, that doesn't apply to some of the horrific things. But luckily, all my life, I've just had first world problems. So I'm healthy. I'm ready to be back running, and you're going to see some good things this indoor and outdoor season.
You made a comment there about kind of confidence and how a lot of runners think, they need to be arrogant to be successful, need to be confident to be successful. I think that could foster a healthy conversation or debate between you and I. What's your thought on that? Where, the best runners you've been around or you've seen or experienced, or even you in your best running, where's the confidence at? And how do you balance specifically with your worldview beliefs as a Christian, like the balance between being really confident, which can come across as prideful, while also being humble? And how would you define the two?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that it's necessary to be, maybe not for some people are born, born humble, born salt of the earth type people, but some of us are born and it's almost necessary that we go through this, egotistical phase just to realize that like I could have this ego and do all these great things and be the guy, but I'm still maybe not successful or I'm still maybe not fulfilled. And I think that's been like, you mentioned my life has changed in many ways. And I think the biggest change is like, growing up in church, you hear things like, God loves you, you are the beloved or you're chosen by God. And man, like you and me both grew up in sports. It's like when I hear I'm chosen, I think I'm out there on the playground playing kickball and somebody wants me on their team first. I'm first pick. I'm chosen. I'm better than you almost. Is kind of that message that athletics sends. And then figuring that out in my own walk with God, I think it's good to honor and I have to claim that I'm beloved and chosen, but it's not a competitive thing. It's God is saying you're chosen for this and other people are chosen for these things. And if I'm just being competitive with other people and not honoring where they're chosen, then I'm not a good friend. I'm not a good brother. I'm not a good son. So honoring like, it's necessary. It was necessary for me to have this big ego and think I was that guy. Cause it's like, you can't move forward unless you acknowledge that and overcome it. But now, I'm coming from a place of, yeah, I'm beloved and chosen, and so are you. And so is we can learn anything from, I think we can learn the most from the poor and afflicted. But my belief is that I'm chosen here, partially, and I've been given this gift to run and to compete. And so, that's one of the facets that I'm chosen in. And so I'm convicted of that, and I'm gonna put all my energy and all my effort into that, and be a hell of a runner. But I mean, I think it's necessary. I don't want to tell younger people like totally avoid the arrogance entirely, because I think it's almost like a canon event. Like you can't go around it, you can't go above it, you got to go through it. And then God willing, you come out better on the other side.
In your mind, with running specifically, what's the difference between confidence and arrogance?
Ah, man, I don't I don't want to give like a corny answer. Like, because they're pretty inseparable some of the times. I mean, confidence, I guess, is just you're confident you can execute and get the job done. And I don't, maybe arrogance is just being a little too full of yourself. I've heard some better descriptors, but they kind of come off as a little shallow and like, man, we're all living for the first time. We're all like experiencing emotions in real time. So it's like, what is arrogance? Arrogance maybe thinking I'm better, I'm worth more than other people. And I think it's okay to think you're better than other people in certain facets, but maybe not like I'm worth more, right? Because we toe the line. I think I'm better than you 10 days out of 10.
I mean, you're way better. You kill me, but I
Well,
know you're
maybe
not
not
talking
you.
about
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
Your times in sixth grade probably beat my times. I don't know, sophomore, junior year of high school. Do you think then arrogance and confidence is more of a net positive or a net negative for a runner and an athlete?
It's definitely a net positive, dude. It's just like a necessary thing. Especially, I mean, confidence goes without saying. Like, you got to be confident. You got to believe you can get the job done. If you don't believe in yourself, who will? But arrogance, like, yeah, it's easy to be like, screw that, don't be arrogant. But no, I really think you got to go through it, and it's like, I don't know, it's like being a good person. Like you're a good person for the right reason sometimes, and you're a good reason for the wrong person. And it's like I think about like you go over to a girl's house for dinner and it's like your first date with your first time over there and you're like trying to help out washing the dishes because you want to make a good impression. You're only washing the dishes because you want to make a good impression. And then you're dating her and then you're washing the dishes because you just got fed a free meal and you want to pull your load in the relationship. And then after a while, maybe you get married to the girl and you're washing the dishes because you're part of a family and it's like the virtuous thing to do. And it's like it goes without saying. And I think it's the same thing. It's like with learning these traits or learning to be a good person, learning to not be arrogant. Like you gotta start out doing something for the wrong reason or doing something bad for a certain reason, and then you just progress. And eventually you're gonna be able to be more aware of where you're at and kind of be exalted above that. But it's like a necessary step. It's not bad or good, but it's necessary.
Curious to get your thought on my thought off of your thought. That's a mouthful, which is I think that there are different times that call and require different types of virtue. So, for instance, I think in a race, speaking in running examples here, in a race, I think you should be arrogant and I think you should be confident. I think on your team, you should be very humble. I think to your coach, you should be very humble. But I think it's a dance between the two because, like, I talked to Coach Milt, and I think what he appreciated in Parker and Ethan was like they were a little dumb their freshman year and would just go put themselves out in the pack and then maybe die. But he appreciated that arrogance and confidence. He might not call it that, but from an outside perspective, that's what you do when you go to the front of race as a freshman. You're naive and you're arrogant. But it's a good virtue because it shows that you think you have that dog in you, and eventually you probably will because you're going to show up to training every day with that type of mindset and that type of intensity. I think what you're getting to that I like is like you're not worth more as a person whether you win or lose, or you're not worth more on the line whether you're better or not than somebody, but having the confidence of like this little game that we call running. Yeah, I'm better at it than you, and I'm going to show you today on the course. And I mean, any high school athlete can remember this. Like I always had those teams in high school that I hated, or always had those individuals who I hated for no other reason than I just like didn't like them. I wanted to beat them, knew nothing about them. It wasn't personal, but I think there's a healthiness specifically as a male to like these little games. It's like 2000 years ago, we were trying to kill each other with swords. And now it's this sport called cross country. So of course you're going to come up with little games. Like we're still primal.
Yeah, no, I mean biologically, we got that competitive drive, right? Um, and to your point about like, you're a naive and arrogant freshman. That's the best thing you can be. Like, just don't let you go to the front of the pack and then you drop, and then the next year you go to the front of the pack and you drop a little less, and then by your senior year you're winning the race. And like I I think a lot of the time, by the time you're a senior, you're more confident and less arrogant, and you're just like, because you actually believe in yourself. You don't have to fake it. And I think sometimes arrogance can kind of be fake confidence. But like it was necessary for you to fake it until you made it.
That's interesting take. I also think you can be confident and arrogant until you get humbled, and when you get humbled, be humbled, but don't lose that confidence. What I mean by that, so you could go out as a freshman, be naive, get your ass handed to you, and then have the thought, I'm not good enough, and sit with that thought and say, oh, I am not good enough. I did lose. I got beat pretty bad. What am I going to do about it? Because I think the best, most confident people still probably have those setbacks and those L's, but they don't let it detract from. I feel like confidence is kind of an identity, right? And I think a
Yeah,
lot of people can fake it in moments, fake it in days, fake it in races, but the best people are also going to get humbled from time to time, and they have this ability to, like Cole Hawker, factually, whether he should have advanced or not, was stupid and tactically at the World Championships this year in the 15, but he didn't let that detract from how good of a runner he was, and he still maintained that confidence and swagger that he was the best in the world in an event that really wasn't his event, and won it. And I think a lot of people, even pros, man, would have what Cole happen to them, and it would have just ruined the World Championships for them, and they would have got spat out the back in the 5K. So I think you have to be self-aware enough to say, no, I wasn't good enough, but I'm going to be good enough next time.
yeah, and then when you do take an L, when crap hits the fan, you sit in it and you're like, I'm gonna let myself be upset about this for the night, and then I'm gonna take three things that went okay and three things that didn't go all right, and I'm gonna reflect on those, and I'm gonna be better for next time. But like, I mean, I think you kind of lose the vision and lose the confidence and even lose your identity when you dwell on those things for more than the allotted time that you should.
I'm curious to ask you in regards to confidence. High school, you were kind of on top of the world. You thought you were that guy. You low-key were that guy in Oregon. But you were competing, to make Foot Locker national meets, Brooks PR meets, competing for national titles. College, as you mentioned, has been a little bit more of a roller coaster than you were probably anticipating. Where do you think your confidence is at now, and how have the goals shifted, if at all?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have it any other way. Like the goals are the same. I think one thing about being at Gonzaga and then Slick and now Utah State, like three things I can say about each of those cultures that I was a part of. It's like team first mentality. And in high school, I cared about my team. I wanted them to do well, but like that was a second, that was a second thought, or even a third or fourth thought. And now it's like it means everything to me. I am. If I run bad and the team runs great, I'm going to be happy. And that's never something I could say before. And yeah, no, it's like, it's legit. It's the goals. Sometimes it's like, I mean, a lot of the time it's like, I know that I can be better than I am. And I know that I should be better than I am right now. And I believe that I can be a top runner in the NCAA. And it's, you know, you try not to compare yourself to other people, but naturally it happens. But I think it's worth noting, like at the end of the day, I love this sport just as much, if not more, than I ever have, and I'm enjoying it. And it's just like my identity in so many ways. And yeah, it means everything to me. Yeah, I think just with comparison, like it's natural to compare yourself to people, and even maybe I'm comparing myself to these guys that are winning NCAA meets that I was in high school with. But I also have to compare myself and say, like, if I'm going to do that, I'm still in the sport. I'm loving it more than ever. I'm getting better every week. I'm part of a great nationally ranked team. And if I compare myself to everyone that was around my caliber in high school, yeah, it's true that there's a few All Americans and like top NCAA world athletes. But there's also, 50% of the people that I competed against in high school have burnt out or have just been injured for all of high school and hate the sport. And then, maybe if you take 10 guys that I was competing with all the time, I think half of those guys are out of the sport, are injured, or just like not invested anymore. And then I think, two or three of those guys are NCAA top athletes. And then, there's like a few guys like me that are getting better every week and
In
have
the
their
hunt,
lives.
baby.
Say that again.
In the hunt, baby.
Yeah, yeah, and they have that belief, but more than that, just as much as that belief, they love it, and they're mentoring the freshmen and sophomores that are coming up, right? And that's how we look at you, man. Like you're not a college runner necessarily, but you have formed more relationships from this sport than anything, and you were mentored by so many guys, and now you get to mentor a bunch of other younger folks, and that's one of the backbones of the sport, and it's important just as performance is important.
We talked a lot about last time conversation about trail, how much you love that sport. Where do you think that sits in your career progression? Is that something that you're kind of holding in your back pocket if track and cross country don't work out? Is that something that you want to continually explore and pursue? Where do you view trail in the grand scheme of your life and your world and your career?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. Like I'm kind of holding it in my back pocket. Like felt like I had some success with it in the two international times I've competed, and yeah, career wise, it's like I think I would be more fulfilled as like a professional trail runner than a professional track runner. I think like career wise, family. Like if I have a day job or if I want to prioritize my family, I think trail running is much more cohesive with that lifestyle, prioritizing my family and like spiritually, emotionally. It's like free therapy. And I'm not knocking on therapy. Go to therapy if you need it, but also get outside. And being in Utah, being in Oregon, being in Washington, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I'm sorry you're out there in the Midwest, but you got to get out here, and it'll change your worldview. And I think, right, like I'm going into philosophy, I'm going into theology. I'm basically describing the nature of God with my words, or the I'm trying to describe God in analytical and systematic ways. But I don't think anything I can say about God with my words has not already been said by a mountain or by a tree blowing in the wind. And that's pretty profound to me. And at the end of the day, it kind of recenters my life. It recenters my running. It recenters my social life. It recenters, school. And if I can get paid to do that and still scratch that competitive itch in, international competitions, I definitely want to hold that in my back pocket.
Okay, I want to ask you some questions off of that. One, the Midwest sucks besides Columbus, Ohio. I'll concede that any day. Columbus is amazing though. Two, Pacific Northwest, I think, is the greatest place in this country, maybe world. I haven't traveled the world long enough, but it's every time I go to Seattle, I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, it's insane. Thirdly, I want to get your take on this. I think one of my problems of the many I have over the past few years has been running with my phone. I think it's a habit I picked up after I kind of got out of high school. Really enjoyed like listening to music or podcasts on runs. And I think it's transformed into a bad habit where I'll admit, like I will text work people, I'll reply to emails. I don't know how I somehow get away with it. I can run and like reply to emails. Does that mean I'm doom scrolling TikTok on runs? Absolutely not, guys. Absolutely not. Does that mean I'm most of the time replying to work emails? No, but it happens. And I think running and life and work has kind of meshed with each other. Whereas in the past, running was kind of an escape from life in a good, healthy way, I think. Like it was like my hour or two of the day where I could like think and pray and unwind and dream, all that sort of stuff. And that's kind of gotten away as I've started to bring my phone on runs. And I think I'm not just speaking for myself, but a lot of other people out there. And that's not to say that like one of the things I enjoy doing is my days are so busy that a lot of times my runs are like the only time I can call, my mom or family or whatever. And that can be nice. But I do have this craving. It's funny. Yesterday I ran for one of the first times in quite some time because I kind of took a step back after this most recent marathon and I didn't run with my phone. And it was like literally only had 20 minutes for a run, went for a run without my phone. And I was like, I feel like this could do a lot for my mental health, like running, which is funny because I know it to be true. But every time I consistently run, I run with my phone. So any takes on that? Because I think a lot of what you spoke to, like in the therapy conversation, I think it's taken away with running if you run with stimulation, which is what I do.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree that it can do that, and I'm like, I'll be transparent. I got the same problem as you, and it definitely like can take away from the beauty of running. You know, if but also there's a lot of beauty in it. Like, you know, maybe it is the only time I can call my mom that day, or I think to check up on an old friend or whatever. But also, you know, like I really love what you said. Like it's a time. It was a time for prayerful contemplation and whatnot, and you know, we'll throw a bone to the goat, Saint Francis, who said that, you know, our life should be a continuous prayer. You know, the New Testament, our life should be a continuous prayer. And in that way, you know, we might think, oh, a prayer is sitting down and with, you know, I'm closing my eyes and folding
On my
my arms.
knees, by my bed, all
Yeah,
the
yeah, and
stereotypes.
that's legit. But also prayer is, you know, how you treat other people, and prayer is, you know, just you're walking or being bored, and prayer is singing. And you know, maybe I be listening to music that doesn't really help me on runs, but sometimes I also just put on like some Gregorian chants, and that can be really helpful. Or, you know, I think it's understanding moderation. But silence, man, it's like I think we've talked about this before, but I don't spend nearly enough time in silence. And I can tell you, like, the beautiful thing about silence is you have nowhere to go. Like, you have to look yourself as a man in the mirror, and just your raw, authentic self, and say, "This is who I am, and how am I going to make sense of my life?" So, absolutely, like I have the same problem. I don't want to look my authentic self in the mirror sometimes. So I'd rather listen to a podcast, or, you know, call up somebody or listen to music. But I mean, I think everything in moderation. Like, I think I'm don't see a problem with bringing my phone on a run sometimes, but man, you encouraged me also to maybe take a step back and try and be more contemplative.
Well, if it's so hard to do, we probably, or I'll speak for myself. If it's so hard to do, and even in a conversation, there's probably some sort of addiction or tendency there. Like I genuinely think I'm addicted to my phone, 100%. I
Yeah,
genuinely think I'm addicted to work, and that doesn't mean fruit can't come from it. That doesn't mean that I'm not more productive on runs. But is the point of running productivity in life, or running to be running? And I feel like over the past few years, I've lost meaning of what running is because of my kind of meshing of all these worlds. In my defense, one thing I've appreciated that I've kind of strayed away from is like always filming runs and like pumping out content from runs. I just have always kind of had a problem with that. I might change my view on that in the future, but I at least try to like keep my running space sacred and not like filming every single mile. And I've done that before, and it can be fun, but yeah, just I definitely have a desire in the coming months on my runs to like detach and actually, because I just remember in high school some of my, like, I would be so bored, man, but you would take a new street, or you'd go on a new route, or you'd out of hurdle fire hydrants, and it's like,
yeah,
that's awesome. I hope I always am like that, and I feel like I've not been like that recently. And I enjoyed running at an unparalleled level in high school compared to how I do now. um and
yeah.
so,
I
I mean,
mean,
I mean, even on runs, like I'm not aware of beauty anymore. I'm not aware of like the sound of my footsteps because I have AirPods in. I think phones have ruined running in a lot of ways for a lot of people without them even recognizing or realizing it. And then you appreciate Graduation by Kanye West when you reintroduce your phone once every 2 weeks
yeah,
versus it
yeah,
being
yeah,
every day, you know?
yeah. Facts, bro. I mean, I think I'm addicted to the dopamine of my phone, but at the same time, it sounds like we're also both addicted to like productivity, and it's like, if I only got so much time in a day, I want to try and kill two birds with one stone. And if I can run and listen to material, you know, listen to something I have to listen to for my class, I'm going to kill two birds with one stone. But that takes away the sacred nature of, like, I mean, even like the liturgy of running, right? Like, if you're at a mass, you're not trying to kill two birds with one stone. You're trying to be there in the moment, present. And but then again, going back to what we were talking about earlier, I think it's good. It's a necessary thing that we had to go through to kind of, we're now aware that maybe this is toxic. And then when we come out the other side, we have this increased awareness of how beautiful everything is. And I don't think we would really appreciate running for what it is without, like, almost blaspheming it for a little bit. Like, you kind of have to go, you have to learn by fire, trial by whatever. You gotta go out of the utopia to realize how great it is.
You said something interesting 2 responses ago about I might butcher it, so correct me if I'm misquoting you, but basically kind of look yourself in the mirror. Well, my thought off of that is like the hard part about running without anything for me is I'm so with my thoughts, and sometimes my thoughts are scary, right? And
Yeah.
that's a scary reality to sit in. And it's a scary reality to admit. I'm not comfortable with myself and just my thoughts because I'm scared of the thoughts I might think about myself and what that might do. You know, that's very existential, but it's very real for a lot of people. And how often are we bringing stimulation on our phones or whatever on runs, or even like constantly wanting to run with other people because we're genuinely scared of running with ourselves? Why are we scared of running with ourselves? Because it might be the only time of our day that we're truly with ourselves. And what does that time with ourselves produce, right? It literally could just be boredom, or it could be hard thoughts about yourself, about how your life is shit and you need to change it, or whatever it might be. People are so terrified, including myself, I think, sometimes of like those interior thoughts. And the Cleveland Clinic's done studies on this. I think like up to 85% of repeating thoughts are negative. And so if that's the case, we're going to try to protect ourselves from that, including bringing separate stuff with us. But I mean, even a practice, I think a lot of Catholics, like, they wait for Lent to do anything sort of like hard and a daily ritualistic. But something I want to do, because I've thought about doing this many Lents, but I haven't, is literally not even pray, but it could be a form of prayer. I guess you would debate, which I appreciate, but just sit in a dark room with my thoughts for 10 minutes before bed every night. I think
that's totally fair.
completely rejuvenate me, like completely. Because even prayer can be escape from just sitting with your thoughts, which is why I get annoyed sometimes with, I mean, whatever denomination, or even Catholics in this sense, like their only form of prayer is like music, or it's like, no, just like be with yourself, be with God, be with that space that's holy and sacred, you know?
Yeah, man. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're freaking Craig Engels or Josh Kerr, like good looking dudes with the nice facial hair and whatnot, or you're like super insecure high schooler. Like we don't want to. It's hard to look at ourselves and contemplate these existential things. But like, I mean, you absolutely hit the nail on the head with sitting in silence, like, because we forget to listen, and it's like I just want to yap, yap, yap. But if I want a relationship with someone or something, I have to listen to them. If I want a relationship with God, I have to listen to God. And I think, man, I know a lot of atheists or agnostics that pray every day. Probably have a better prayer life than me, just because it recenters them. And it makes me think of the Quakers. Like they were called Quakers because they were part of their Sunday worship was just to sit, and they called it unprogrammed worship. You just sit there in silence, and if the Holy Spirit moves you to say something, you stand up and you communicate that. You examine the Spirit to see if it's really from the Holy Spirit, and then you stand up and you communicate to the rest of the congregation what the Holy Spirit said to you. But like, in America, this might sound like just a bunch of people yapping because we like to emotionally project and we like to talk. But like, the Quakers would say the most successful form of this worship would just be like an hour without anyone talking, because it's just pure listening. And like, if you're listening to God, that's like the holiest thing, the most sacred thing you can do in this form of worship. And like, I mean, I absolutely agree. Like, just sitting there, whether it's, no matter what you believe, but whether it's with your thoughts or whether it's with the Holy Spirit or whether it's with whatever spirituality you tap into, but you discern, you listen. I mean, like, it's like your vocation in life isn't really chosen. I think it's discovered by listening to your life and trying to figure out what it's all about.
It's a bar right there. I like that. I like that line. I mentioned the desire to sit with myself 10 minutes in silence, how I think that habit could do a lot for me. What's a habit you've wanted to do for a long time that you haven't committed to do? So maybe the public pressure of it will help you. It could be running, could be life.
Man, I mean, like, just the simple things. Like, I wish I could say something kind of profound, but it's like, not go on my
Simple
phone
things can be
before bed.
profound.
Yeah, put away that Instagram Reels before bed. Uh, I one habit that I'm trying to get into is just like, reaching out to my friends via like mail, like letters, just because like it's a little more sentimental. Let people know that you care about them and they're special to you. But like that on the relationship side. But then like putting my phone away before bed, spending more time reading than on my phone. I don't. I mean, honestly, on the topic of listening, I think my number one habit is I want to listen, because, like I said before, I'm an arrogant prick, and I think I'm all that in a bag of chips sometimes. And it's like a relationship's a two-way street, and I have much more. Like I want to go around people and think that I have much more to learn from them than they have to learn from me, and listen to them and listen to God, and be more comfortable listening.
I like it, man. I like it. Moving on to a subject I want to get your opinion on. I got two hot topic subjects for you. I've approached them with some people before, but I think you have good, thoughtful perspectives. Just generally to open up the conversation, thoughts on the state of the NCAA. Do you think we're headed positive direction, negative direction? If negative, what can we do to make it positive?
Yeah, there's pros and cons. Like my perspective for a lot of this, like NIL, like big, almost making the NCAA professional. Like my perspective is obviously I don't like it. I think it should be organic. I think it should be raw. I think it should be, college kids competing in like, if you're going to compete in the professional leagues trying to make money and stuff, like go pro, run at the Olympics, run at these big meets. But, if you want to compete in this amateur NCAA Division I that's still really competitive, then do that. And that's my perspective. I think partially it's because like I'm from Oregon. I'm from like Pat Tyson, Bill Bowerman, the Men of Oregon, where it's like they recruited guys that were all Pacific Northwest guys, like the guys at Oregon in the 60s, 70s, 80s, all Oregon, Washington type guys. That the Gonzaga team that I was on, like all homegrown guys. The Utah State team, the Salt Lake team, like all Utah homegrown guys. And I like that perspective, but also like I want to honor and acknowledge the fact that like people have different perspectives for good reasons. If I am from a different country and I got a chance to chase my bag in the NCAA, like, Lord knows I would do that. But yeah, I don't know. I want to see kind of the NCAA decide their mission statement on NCAA cross country in particular. And it feels like kind of the direction we're heading. We're heading away from the mission of NCAA cross country track. But, I acknowledge that it can't just be like this. Like we have to honor each perspective. But there's pros and cons. There's pros and cons to everything.
Yeah, one of the things I want to get your take on is the foreign aspect that the NCAA has become. I looked up rankings. It's funny, I'm so in the sport, but sometimes I'm so out of it. Like I didn't watch Nuttycombe. I honestly couldn't tell you who won, which is crazy. I probably should know that, but sometimes I just like detach a little bit because it can be exhausting, even with like political news or stuff, just to always be like checking Flow Track or Let's Run or whatever for results or whatnot. And I looked up rankings just because I was curious to stay up to date and find out who's relevant. It's like I don't know 8 of these top 10 guys, and 2, I don't know how to pronounce any of their names. And it's like it's so tough, man. I think international kids provide a lot to the NCAA, but I think we're at the point now where I don't even know if we can call it an American system anymore. With the incentives of coaches are to win championships, and if they can't do it with their athletes, they're not getting the top recruits. They're going to go overseas. A coach literally explicitly told that to me on the podcast. So now we're in a reality where it's all about winning and all about incentives around winning, which I guess can make sense. It's a sport, but we're going to foreign countries to do so. And it's like, okay, I don't know if this is an American system anymore. And I don't love that. Yeah. It feels weird. I think there should be limits around my 2 hot takes. I think there should be limits around, how many like international transfers you can have. And then my second, I'm very, very curious to get your take on this. I've gotten heat for this before, but that's okay. It's my platform. I think we should have some sort of age limit. I really do. I think I'm all for, me, I'm very religious. I'm all for religious exemptions and reasons. But
Those damn Mormons.
yeah, well, it's not just that. I mean, you could, it's aside from them, it could be any religion. I think that because you even see it with international kids. It's like some of these kids, you have no clue what age they are.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's
yeah,
like a
yeah.
26-year-old is just versus an 18-year-old. Like,
But
it's just
that's not
not,
a religious exemption, you know.
that's true. But what's your take around that? Like age sort of things in the NCAA and the sport?
I mean, you know, to go to the international thing, it's like I don't know if I just want to acknowledge the fact that I'm in the NCAA and I don't want to get beat by these guys. So of course I'm gonna have some bias where I'm like, man, I want to, you know, I want to be All American, but what does it mean to be All
But
American when
let
there's
me push
five?
you. Let me push you there, if I might. I
Yeah,
don't.
yeah,
I think if you, I think if you, it's because it's a different ball game. It's not the fact that it's kids from another country. It's the fact that it's like a completely different ball game, and it's I'm trying to think of an example to kind of quantify this, but like
Well,
you'd be,
if you're a 9-10 high school 2 miler, like 10, 15 years ago, you're getting a good scholarship to a D1 school, and now you don't have a roster spot anywhere.
yeah, it's crazy. But like if you're placing 50th at the NCAA cross country meet, you're going to be pissed, regardless of if it's all Americans in front of you, or it's some Brits and Americans in front of you, or it's all Kenya in front of you. I think it's easy to point the finger at other country and be like, oh, you know, I just want, but I think at the end of the day, you would be mad either way because you'd be losing, right? Um,
Yeah, 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 sure.
so I don't even know if it's just the other country sort of thing, because it's like we didn't have this conversation when it comes to, I don't know, Australia or other countries that have good athletes. So
But you know, also it shows that the NCAA system is so well regarded. It's like if I don't have a problem with internationals necessarily, because like if I was an international, I'd want to come run here. But like, what does it say when a college coach is not trying to develop talent and just like buy it? Like that's almost like I think that the slippery slope there is like almost human trafficking. Um, and you know there's a story I won't drop any names or anything, but like East Africans have agents that kind of set them up with colleges, and I've helped some guys from Kenya come to JUCOs in America. um, but this agent, he takes like you know a cut of their NIL money, and the school didn't send the agent enough money, so the agent sent the school the wrong Kenyan. And
whoa.
it's like, bro, are you are you freaking kidding me? Like at that point it's human trafficking, you know, and that's too far. And you know, maybe you call that a slippery slope or say it doesn't happen, but
But that
what is
only
it
happens
when?
because it's all about winning, and that will continue to happen until the incentives change. And I think a good incentive is good rules and penalties if you don't fall within those rules. I'm all for
Yeah,
international everything in the NCAA, but I think there needs to be parameters within it. Otherwise, literally, we will no longer have an American system. We won't.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
respectfully, the best kid from Oregon this year is way worse than the best kid from Kenya.
yeah,
It will always be that way. And that's just, we suck as America at running compared to Kenya. We're getting better. We're closing the gap. But I don't know if it's healthy for the NCAA system to have incentives to win championships all the time, and that be at the cost of the NCAA is a development system. It could be considered
yes,
like the double
yes.
A to the MLB. And
Amen,
so
amen to that.
that's what it should be. And we're turning the NCAA into professional running, and it should not be that. That's not what it's for. And so it's like if you're an agent and you want to bring a kid over to be a professional athlete, do it. Sign with Adidas or Nike, but don't bring him to some NCAA school. I don't know. I'll get hate
Yeah,
for this,
yeah,
but I'm okay
no,
saying it. I just want to
I
protect
agree
the
with you.
American system. It should be a development system.
But if I'm Habtem Samuel and I get a 300K offer, like you know I'm you know I'm taking that. Like
But I'm not mad at the kids. I'm mad at the
yeah,
system.
yeah, no,
If I could come to America from any country, I 100% am. And the beautiful thing about it, and the very pro thing, is like these kids are getting educations that they never would if they stay. So for the kid, it makes so much sense.
yeah,
I'm mad
yeah.
at the coaches, and I'm mad at the institutions, and I'm mad at the NCAA.
Yes, they're not it's not a developmental. I mean, even more so, you know, you said this is American system. I mean, I agree, but I might even push back and say the better descriptor would be this is a developmental system. And you know it's bad when you're seeing these people commit to these schools and their PRs listed on like these commitment posts.
58 minutes in the half marathon. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, or you see in JUCO or like these lower level D1s, they get a kid that's run 13:20 in somewhere else, and then they come here and they never crack 13:40, and it's like that's anti-development. And I know it doesn't, people hit plateaus and go through rocky times. I'm not saying that, but you're not developing the kid. You're a babysitter. And I know you just had Mike Smith on, like. Man, NAU's known for, they have some Aussies, they have some Kiwis, and Mike Smith did a great job developing them. Or, even like UTEP back in the day developed their Kenyans pretty well. Or, different schools have done a good job of developing athletes. But when you're just trafficking or buying an athlete without like having any intention to develop them, but just to like, it's almost like your only job as a coach is not to train or develop this athlete. Your only job as a coach is to not let this athlete get hurt, and your job's done.
And I've heard horror stories, as I'm sure you have too, of like these kids, adolescents from foreign countries, come to a new country for the first time, have no clue how society operates, a language that's like a little foreign to them, and it's all about the running and not about the individual. And you talk to Mike Smith, and it's like that guy cares deeply about the individual, but the coaches, who in your words are trafficking these athletes, it's like they just care about championships. They don't care that the kid is like has no support, has left their family, left their friends, left their tribe. So I think that's also a crisis that is happening quietly, but will continue to happen, is like there aren't even good supportive structures in place. And then it also makes other athletes on the team resentful because, as you've said, it's a roster spot that now the NCAA has like cut more and more. And so it's more and more valuable. And now kids are being fearful that they're not even going to have a place on the team. I think
you have these guys that, like, I'm in Utah. There's guys like Kenneth Rooks or James Corrigan, 2 Olympians in the steeplechase. These guys were not like, if their high school times were their times today, they would, there's a good chance they wouldn't be running. They'd just be working a 9 to 5. And you saw it back in the 70s, like maybe the most talented runner the world has ever seen, Henry Rono. Like, I'm so glad he ran in the NCAA. I'm so glad he, got to make us aware of his talents and gifts. But his coach just gave him he came over here, his coach just gave him a bottle and he became an alcoholic because like there's no developmental structure or framework in place. And so you just like coaches, like back then, it's like the coach just hooked him on alcohol for his whole life. And then we swore as a community that we would never let something like that happen again. But here we are doing a relatively similar thing. And then to speak to the age limit thing, I agree with you. Like, I don't think it should necessarily be like you have to be 18 to 22.
No, that's way too young.
Yeah, I don't think
like
it's
25
I don't
or something.
be,
Something reasonable.
Yes. Yeah, 25 is a good. I mean, or maybe you just have, they've played around with like you just have 5 years on a clock. You can redshirt is more negligible. But yeah, 25, 26, something like that. Like, I don't think, I mean, this isn't a shot at any athletes that fit this profile at all. I think they're great people. I think they're hell of an athlete. But
I'll say what everyone's thinking and push back. If you're 27 and you still haven't made it to the point of being able to sign a pro contract, hang it up. Come on, and get past the glory days. You're 27. Like, go get your 9 to 5 and get married. Like, I don't know. I think too many people try to squeeze the lemon when there's no lemonade left, but they're squeezing it for far too many years. And it's like, yeah, being on a college team is great, but also, again, at a point, we have to save spots for kids who that's a spot on a team. There's not unlimited spots, and I think there's such beautiful spots in this sport that people don't realize, whether it's a podcast like mine or a coach or a grad assistant, or there's a lot of ways to stay in the sport if you didn't make it in your 5-6 years in the NCAA. And this isn't just running, by the way. There was a quarterback a few years back at Utah who like was a 6th or 7th year, and the guy sucked. People hated him in Instagram comment sections. It's like, bro, hang it up. I mean, football's so brutal. That's honestly something funny is like, you say anything controversial in running and everyone's like, oh my gosh, so toxic. And then football every week in the NCAA is like calling for coaches to get fired, hating on players. It's so funny. I
Yeah,
mean,
but on
running's
the
so
other end
soft.
of things, if you're 28 years old and you've ran a time that would be an American record in the half marathon, it's like go pro, man. Like, you know, you don't,
Right.
I don't know if it fits, if you quite fit the archetype for NCAA developmental system if you run, this world class time. But like, once again, like if I'm that athlete and I can make more money off NIL, I'm, probably taking advantage of the system. But as, as stewards of the system, or even, our elders in that regard, like let's set the, framework, let's set the boundaries.
I think it's going to consistently change. Things always change. I think it's just a question of how people will adapt and how the leaders and organizations will structure things and, accept change, adapt to change, current change. I think the NCAA will be fine. I just think it's in for a rude awakening. Like, I think things are just massively changing. And I don't think we'll get to the point of no return, but I think there needs to be some guardrails in place soon.
It
So
sucks for, I mean, it sucks for American high schoolers that,
yeah,
used to.
that's who, and that's maybe why I feel more passionately, because I used to be that sophomore who was bright eyed and thought he could maybe run D1 one day. It's like there's no way I would have been able to in the current landscape.
Yeah, but you like yeah, I don't know. It's just disappointing for like opportunities are being taken away from people that maybe fit the archetype of the NCAA better, and have dreamed about it. And like, I don't know, it's a tragedy, and we don't want to take those opportunities away. And, obviously it's not like cross country is bringing in the big bucks to like feed the football program, but like opportunities are opportunities, and it's like it's college sports. Um, you just think about all the people that have been developed that wouldn't have gotten that opportunity, and it's heartbreaking.
100%. Wrapping this one up, a man of a lot of wisdom. This could be a podcast in and of itself, but for those who have made it this far, what would you say to a younger athlete listening who wants to be great at the sport of running and truly desires that? What habits would you instill in them? What encouragement would you have for them?
I mean, everybody says that you got to be disciplined. You gotta do the simple things. Simple ain't easy. I don't like bicarb, freaking all the double T, all this crap is helpful for professionals, but you should not even be thinking about that if you're not getting 8-9 hours of sleep, if you're not eating 3 or 4 meals a day, and if you're not staying healthy. I don't know. I think it's like there's all these new gadgets in running and all this new technology, but like if you're training like a professional athlete for 5 months and then you're getting injured for 2 months and then you just get trained really great for 4 months, 6 months, and then get injured for 2 months, and you're doing this super high level training, that's cool. And, I hope you're having a good time with that, but nothing beats just like, if you can get 3 years of training in, that's not sexy. It's not it's not something you want to brag about, but you're just consistently doing like the mundane things, the simple things. I think that's great. But yeah, I mean, I think anyone can be great. You just have to be willing to pay the price. And the price here is doing the unsexy thing and doing the consistent, boring thing of everyday running. And it can be a lonely road. It can be a road filled with friends and mentors, but you just got to get out there day after day and be consistent.
I love it. For you, fans of the fake or the real Michael Maiorano, what can they expect from you? Where can they find you? And what do you have for the people the next 365 days?
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm my organs are looking good. Doctor said so. I'll be back. I'm gonna come in indoor here, get that sub 4 mile checked off. Help my team develop. I wanna. I won the JUCO steeplechase last year, so I want to pursue that and 5K, 10K. Yeah, I want to keep getting better every day, and I want to develop the whole person, the physical, the emotional, the spiritual, the mental. I started a new page, kind of expressing like spiritual, theological dialogue called "Who is like God?" question. So I'll plug that real fast, trying to learn a thing or two from Dom here about social media. But yeah, and most of all, I want to be there for other people. So if anyone listens to this, whether you're a high school athlete or, a fellow college athlete or a parent of an athlete or whatever it might be, like, please feel free to reach out. Like I'll hop on a call. I want to provide any of we learn by experience, and we learn from our experience and by others' experience. So if my experience can help anyone in the realm of training, in the realm of recruiting, in the realm of relationships, like, hit me up. I'll respond to everything.
I love it. Michael, final question for you. It's fall. We talked about it. We're both sporting our best vests today on the podcast. By the way, this was not planned. Just great minds think alike. What's your favorite fall thing? Could be a song, could be a drink, could be a place, a location, something else. Michael's number one fall pick.
Dang, bro. I mean, there's a couple things. Like, Utah, the fall in the Utah mountains is beautiful, but I don't think that's my favorite. It's one of them. There's the World Series, which you just watched.
That was crazy, by the way. Not an MLB
Yeah.
fan. Crazy.
Great thing, but I don't think that's my favorite. But right now, man, it's fall, and I'm in college and I'm single, so I'm just fantasizing about a nice fall date. And
Are you calling out the ladies of Utah listening to this podcast?
I don't know. I'm calling out myself, bro. But I'm envious of it right now. I'm hungry. So I'm gonna say my favorite.
Crazier things have happened. My best friend. Have you ever met Pierce Townsend?
No, but I know who he is.
Yeah, so I was doing a podcast before my first marathon, and apparently in it I said like something about, I'm repping the running effect singlet that was just made for me. And so this girl listening, Lauren, goes to find it on my Instagram page. She I think was a very regular listener to the podcast, but didn't follow me on social media at the time. And my pinned post is a picture of a really good picture of me running in Bridge Park. And she was like, "Oh, that's really cool." Sisu took the photo. Pierce took the photo. I think she followed him. He followed her back. He shot her a DM. The rest is history. They're pretty serious in relationship. They're amazing. I love Pierce. Lauren's amazing as well. Shout out Lauren if you're listening. There's no way Pierce is listening. She's a more loyal listener. So, but anyways, so the podcast has set people up. So if you're looking to be Michael's partner for life, this could be the episode that changes his life. I feel like we're a dating show now.
Yeah, bro. I mean, I just, there's some beautiful people I've gotten to know, but just that fall colors, and maybe you can wear a nice little vest or something.
What don't they call it cuffing season? It's like the weather goes down and everyone wants to be in a relationship. I mean,
everybody wants to have those matching pajamas in December, bro.
Oh man, you're a hoot. Well, Michael, dude, thank you for this conversation. Didn't feel like a podcast. Appreciate you, man. Proud of you. Always inspired by you and your wisdom. And I'll give you your flowers. You speak very articulately. I noticed that a few minutes in. I was like, he's weaving together thoughts in a really engaging way. So really appreciate you. Appreciate the time, the attention. You're a good friend. Love you, bro. And thanks, bro. More podcasts to come.